This video will tell you everything you need to know about getting a job in sales. So you should watch this video if you're a student trying to figure out what your first job should be, or if you're thinking about doing a career switch, because I think everybody should start their career in sales if you don't know what you want to do, because it gives you a lot of flexibility. And that's because most sales jobs don't require any prior experience or a specific degree. So no matter what you studied in school, you can still apply and get a job in sales. And from sales, you can move into HR, data analyst roles, operations, sales ops, and marketing. Starting your career in sales gives you a lot of transferable skills, and you can make a lot of money.
Don't worry, you may not know what any of these job titles mean quite yet, but I'll explain that in the next section. But I just wanted to get you all hyped up to see how much money you can make if you get a job in sales. So, the first job that you typically can get if you work in tech sales is as a business development representative. And if you're in the Bay Area like me, you can start off, this is an entry-level role, mind you, for making between $81,000 and $134,000 a year. So you can make six figures at an entry-level role working in sales. Now, obviously, if you work at the top tier companies, you'll be at the higher end of these ranges. Then, after you get a promotion, you typically will work in an account executive role. So as you can see here in the Bay Area, you'd be making between $151 and $270 as an account executive. And that's just after your first promotion. Now, if you don't want to be an account executive, you could also get promoted into a customer success manager role. And in that role, it's a very similar range, $136,000 to $234,000 a year. Now, if you do work in sales, you can make a lot more depending on how good you are at sales, because typically you get paid on commission in addition to your quota. So if you're able to exceed your quota, you can make even more sometimes than what is listed on here. And again, if you work at the top tier companies in certain industries, you can make even more than what is listed right here. So this should get you excited about the potential earning opportunities alone in terms of working in sales.
Now, some industries may pay a little bit more than others, but every company in the world needs people in sales. And so this means that you can actually move between industries quite easily, unlike some jobs which require a lot more industry-specific experience. So what exactly do you do in sales? Well, you're going to work with either new customers, trying to convince them to buy your product or service, or you're going to work with existing customers, trying to get them to buy more or a different product or service that your company offers. You're also supposed to gather feedback from your customers to improve your product or service, or get ideas about what other products and services to create in the future so that your company can make even more money. Seems pretty easy, right? Well, a lot of it comes down to psychology, and you're going to be working a lot with other people. Okay, so now let's talk about some misconceptions as it relates to sales jobs. Myth number one, if you work in sales, you are an untrustworthy or sleazy person. Whenever someone thinks about getting a job in sales, the first thing they think about is that sleazy used car salesman who tries to rip you off at the dealership and sell you things that you don't need, or make you buy a car that's broken down or has problems on the inside. But in fact, the best salesmen love their job because they're selling a product that they believe in that can actually do good for you or your company or your family. Myth number two is you have to be an extrovert or a people person to work in sales. Now, this isn't true, because the most effective salesperson actually listens more than they speak, because you want to ask a lot of questions from your customers in order to gather information. That way you can provide the best possible solution and price for them, solving their needs, which increases their willingness to buy. Misconception number three, AI and artificial intelligence is going to replace sales jobs. I actually think sales is the last job that AI is going to replace right now, because when you're selling or buying something, you're going to be working directly with another person. You're not working with a computer. So whether you're selling a car or whether you're selling a software as a service to a company, at the end of the day, the person that makes this buying decision is going to be a human being, not another computer or robot. So don't worry, I don't think all the sales jobs are going to get replaced by AI anytime soon. Next, let's talk about the different types of sales jobs that you can apply for and you can get, and how you can progress in your career if you choose to stay within sales. Now, depending on the industry, the entry-level sales role is going to have a different job title, but most of them will either be sales representative or business development representative or sales development representative. So a sales rep is typically someone who would work at like a retail store, making sure that the customers can try on the clothes that they want or answer their questions directly when they're shopping in person at a store. Now, if you work at a tech company, you're going to be called a BDR or a business development representative, and you would be the first point of contact for new customers that are inquiring about your product. If you're a BDR or an SDR, you're going to be doing a lot of cold calls, calling new customers, trying to get them interested and excited about your product and making sure that they are aware of your product, increasing brand awareness. Now, after that, you typically get a promotion into either an inside sales or an outside sales representative. Now, these job titles are quite literal and will tell you exactly what you'll be doing in that type of role. Inside sales folks will be staying inside of their building or their company that they work at, using a lot of video and phone calls in order to close deals. And then if you're an outside sales rep, which I do think this role is probably getting eliminated these days, but if you're an outside sales rep, you'll be outside of your corporate company's building, traveling to customers face to face, trying to sell them directly that way. Now, if you work in the tech sector, your first promotion after an SDR or BDR role will be into an account executive or an AE. Now, as the name suggests, you're going to be managing certain accounts or customers or a specific territory of customers for your company, usually handling the full sales cycle after the BDR passes you a qualified lead. Account executives are where you can make a lot of money if you are really good in sales. Now, this next job, Customer Success Manager, typically only exists in the tech sector. And the way that this job works is, as it implies, you'll be managing the success of your existing customers. So rather than trying to get new customers to buy your product, as a CSM or a Customer Success Manager, you'll be working with existing customers that have already bought your product or service. And you're going to want to make sure that they're using the product or service to the best of their capabilities and being super satisfied and happy with their purchase. So in order to do that, you're going to be helping with onboarding and training and answering any questions or handling any issues that may come up for this customer as they're using your product or service. And as a customer success manager, another big part of your job is trying to upsell your customers or making them trying to buy more products or services from your company after their initial purchase. Now, unrelated from all of these other sales jobs I've talked about so far is a more technical role, which is sales engineer. So those of you who are studying engineering but don't actually want to do a full-blown engineering job because maybe you do like human interaction or you like making a little bit more money with a little bit more risk because you would carry a quota, you could be a sales engineer. Sales engineering jobs are typically more in the tech sector because your job is to be working with potential customers, answering their technical questions from their IT or engineering department as to how your product or service may work and making sure that it actually integrates well into their technology stack. So there's your overview of what it's like to have a career in sales and the different types of jobs that you can get, as well as why I think it's a great place to start your career because of all the transferable skills that you can get. If you want a part 2 in terms of how to get a sales job without any prior sales experience, drop a like and put a comment because I'm interested to know what kind of traction this would be because I'm also thinking about turning this into either an online course or a short ebook where people can learn a lot about sales and figure out if this is the type of career for them. And then I could turn this into another series where I talk about other types of careers like finance or accounting or HR or operations. So we'd love to have your feedback and I can see what other kind of videos you all want me to put out. Thank you all for watching and don't be afraid to shake things up and get a job in sales.